Hi, it's Paris from Epic Reviews, the Health Channel, and I wanted to show you the mouse that I use with my computer. May look a little odd. They actually look like it's not sitting down quite right, how you would expect, but this mouse is fantastic. It has saved me from what I'm certain was going to need to be carpal tunnel surgery on my right wrist. But switching over to this mouse and changing a few of my habits on the computer, I'm back to having no pain here, and I can go on the computer for an hour or two without having any problems. So I wanted to tell you about this in case you're in a similar bind, that this may help you out as well. And this mouse is called Evoluent. It's kind of a weird name. Let me zoom in on it here and show it to you. Show you the back of it where they have their name glowing. This was developed by University of California, Berkeley. They did a study on problems that people were having with wrist pain, repetitive stress injuries, and all the like with being on the computer, especially being on the mouse. And what they discovered, and they applied this to creating a mouse that would resolve this issue, is that a regular mouse that people use day in and day out puts your arm in an unnatural position, which is flat. And that's how you use your mouse, is with your arm flat. But if you ever look at how your arms are naturally, when you're just set them down in front of you, most people will not keep their arm flat like that. You can feel a little bit of tension through here. You have to kind of force it to stay flat. Your arm wants to come up at an angle. Not exactly straight up and down, but sort of like this angle. And so that's how your hands normally are. That's how your arms are in their most relaxed state. So forcing it to stay flat all the time, it's a constant tension, a constant pressure. So when you're using a mouse, and if you use it for several hours a day, you have to, even though it's a very small amount of force, you have to basically fight to keep your arm in that unnatural position. And with that stress, in addition to the other things that you're doing with your wrist, you end up with a lot of injury. What they did was take this mouse, as you can see here, the buttons and the wheel and so forth. They took the mouse and they turned it on its side. So now, when you put your hand on your mouse, it goes right into that natural position of being not quite straight up, but at a little bit of an angle over. And so now when you're moving the mouse, you have your arm in its natural position, and it gets rid of that tension. It's not something that happens immediately. I had gotten pretty far down the road to needing surgery to resolve the issues with my wrist. And it was my fault. I've always done some casual gaming on the computer, but my brother and I, a couple years back, got into this first-person shooter. And that type of game, it's very intense, and it's very precise. You have to be very precise with the mouse to kill your victim before they kill you. You have to be very precise, you have to be very quick. And you have to be able to do maneuvers for your character to be able to jump out of harm's way. And so you're doing millions of things here, right? And we got to play in it a lot. We were in tournaments. We'd play, since he's not here in my town, we'd play via the internet. It was a lot of fun. We have the headphones on and talk to each other. Problem was that it got so after a couple hours of playing, my wrist would hurt. Then about halfway through, my wrist would start hurting. Then as soon as we would start playing, it would hurt. And it eventually got so that even when I wasn't playing, my wrist and this part of my forearm just ached all the time. So, all right, we got to stop the game. And so we uninstalled it from the computer, stopped playing it, which freed up a significant amount of time. But the problem was my wrist still hurt. And anytime I would go on the computer for anything, basically as soon as I put my hand in this position, it just started up. So I researched online, and I actually had a chance to try quite a variety of mice because I work on people's computers for them. And so I tried trackballs, and I tried this gyroscopic mouse that you hold in there. I tried all these things, but my wrist still hurt with them. And so this improved things somewhat right away, because I didn't have to even put my hand and wrist in that position. I could have it up on the side. But I'd say it took a couple months before the pain before it stopped hurting in my arm all the time. And it's better part of a year now since I started using this mouse. And I can go on now, I don't play the first-person shooter anymore, but I can go on and play more casual games like StarCraft that more strategy-based. So you're in a hurry to do things, but it's much more leisurely than a first-person shooter where the tiniest mistake and poof, you're out of the match. So this Evoluent mouse, which was developed by the university and they sell it and have probably helped lots of people with it, but I wanted to share my experience with it to help some more. It's not inexpensive. This is a pretty good gaming mouse, my dear old Microsoft IntelliMouse that I don't use anymore, and I probably paid $69, $79 for that. These start at, if you go to Amazon, and I'll put a link down below if you want to see the Amazon price and the specs there and the really good reviews, around $89. But if you want the wireless version, or if you go to the website for the company, they start at around $100 and go up from there. So it's very expensive for a mouse, but compared to what would have been my copay for the surgery, for them to come cut open my wrist, I thought it was actually quite a bargain. So I'll zoom in and show you, explain the features to you. Okay, there's the mouse part you would recognize. You see it's got the 3 buttons, and it's got a wheel, scroll wheel, which is also clickable. And then this little piece here in the middle with the plus and the minus, this actually controls the, well, it basically controls how fast the mouse moves on the screen. You can do plus and minus so that when you move the mouse, it moves the cursor on the screen a different amount. So that's the slowest amount, and then that's when you really need it to zip. Also over here, this is the thumb rest, and you can see there are 2 programmable buttons here. So there's actually a fair amount of programmableness with this. And in that, it allows you to use it as a pretty good gaming mouse. If you want to continue your gaming, it has a place for your thumb to rest. It has a little lip here to catch your pinky. So your whole hand rests right on it. So again, I'll put the link down below if you want to look at it on Amazon. It's the Evoluent mouse, and probably the weirdest mouse you'll ever see. But if you're having carpal tunnel type pain or the repetitive stress injury for mouse movements, I'd suggest you at least go read the reviews about it, because you'll find a ton of people that have had those problems that have been helped by this so much.